Hello, welcome again to another episode on Chrys-O. If you are visiting for the first time, I am Chris and you are welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you as always. Thank you for tuning in. And yes, for those of you who do not already know me, I am Chris. I'm a graduate student at the Simon Fraser University, where I study on a fully funded scholarship, fully funded scholarships. And in this YouTube channel, I mostly talk about scholarships in Canada and the US. But in today's episode, I'm doing something new. I'm talking about work visa in Canada. So, if it is a topic that interests you, come on, buckle your shoes and tighten your belts. You are going to enjoy yourself. And then if it's this is something also new to you, well, still relax. You're going to learn something new, obviously. So yeah, without further ado, let's get down to business. But before that, if you are at this point, you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, come on, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and then you see that like button. Also click that like button because the more you like my videos, the more likely YouTube recommend the videos to others. Come on, support me, guys. Support me, someone. Okay, yeah, I'm sure you have subscribed. Okay, thank you very, very much. Come on in and let's get down to business. Okay, so we'll be talking about work visas in Canada. How does it work? One of the reasons I'm making these videos is because for the past, since this year, I've been receiving messages from different people from Nigeria and other African countries, especially Ghana. They were asking me that, okay, see, I have this agency that promises to give me work visa in Canada, and they said I should pay them so amount of money. And sometimes this money that these so-called agencies request is ridiculous. It's so, too much. And then they ask me, is it legit? Can I get work visas this way? And some other people call me asking me, please, could you help me to get a work visa? And here I am to tell you how this thing works. So before we proceed, I'm going to tell you how this episode would be like. First, I will talk about ways to legitimately migrate to Canada. And then secondly, I will talk about work visas and scams. And then thirdly, I will talk about work visas for techies, for tech bros and techies. Is there anything like techies? Well, anyway, for techies. And also going to share with you my experiences of immigration into Canada. Now, mind you, as a disclaimer, I am not an immigration agent or licensed by Canada Immigration to be a consultant to people who want to migrate to Canada. I am merely an immigrant myself in Canada who is, whatever it is I'm going to tell you today is just something I looked up and I saw, and given my shared experiences of people being scammed and also my experiences of studying some of the things on Canada immigration websites and then hearing so many people's testimonies. So that is what my experiences are based on. So I'm not an immigration consultant again. So whatever it is I tell you, it's you still have the responsibility to verify the info through whichever means you choose to do so. Okay, so let's get down to it. So as a foreign national, someone who is not a Canadian, how can you come into Canada? Well, for me, I know 3 ways, right? 3 major ways. The first is permanent resident. The second is student visa or study permit. The third is visitor's visa. And then there's also work visas. Yes, that's okay. 4 ways. Yes, there's also work visas. Now, what does these different 4 ways of entering Canada entails? First, permanent resident. You can come through a permanent resident into Canada. That means if you're coming to Canada, you're already a permanent resident, like a permanent resident of Canada. And after 2 years or 3 years, you get your citizenship if you decide to do that, right? Now you can come in. You can enter the pool through, you can enter a pool. Normally there is this pool that Canada Immigration invites people to apply for PR. Now, how does this pool work? So there is this thing called CRS scores on Canada Immigration website. Now, you have so many points. They give you points to CRS scores. I think comprehensive record scores or something. I don't know what, yeah, but it's called CRS scores. What that means is there's some certain aspect of your life that would give you point according to the immigration system. For example, if you have a master's program, if you have a master's degree already, that is a point. If you have work experience, that is a point. If you have relatives coming to Canada, that is also a point. So many of these, so if you gather them together, then on the average of that year, I think last year or this year it was 500, it was almost 500. Now, if you have a good score, if you calculate all these different points, if you have good point, Canada Immigration will invite you to apply for PR. Now, if you apply for PR every year, I don't know, is it twice a year or something, they select people from that whole big pool, so the idea of this one is that the more points you have, the better it is for you. So if you want to go through this means you have higher points, make sure you've gone for higher points. Do some things that would give you more points. So go have your master's or your postgraduate diploma. Make sure you have work experiences, and then write IELTS and make sure you pass, the English standardized test that Canada uses for immigration. So these go through different, So put all this in together. If you have good points, then it works for you. You get selected. Now, in this PR system, there are different programs under these PR systems. There's one called Provincial Nominee Program or something like that. Each provinces nominate people based on their work experiences or based on their fields or something. And then the other one is Federal Skilled Worker Program or FSWP something pilot program. So those ones are also based on certain kinds of skills, job skills. For example, if Canada this year said they were looking for doctors, or they're looking for nurses or something like that, and if you have this skill, they'll select you based on those that skill. So anyways, that for PR. Then is there anything else you're supposed to know? So the basic thing to know about this method is your CRS score. Just have good CRS score, have work experience, and have additional credentials. And then if you're under 30, you have more points than someone who is above 40. So that's, the younger you are, the better it is for you to score good points. Yeah. So that is that about the permanent residence route of coming into Canada. Then the second way is the study permit. Well, I came into Canada as a student, as someone through study, through the study permit. Now, the study permit will give you the opportunity to work in Canada. So your study permit comes also with your work permit. So you can work in Canada 20 hours per week, right? Now, and during your break, you can work full hours. And sometimes any time that you are not doing any job, you are not doing any studies, you can also get full-time work. You can get to work full-time. But if you are working in campus, in any job related to your field, it is limitless. There's no number of hours. You can do it all the time and still do your 20 hours of outside of school, right? So for example, I'm a teaching assistant, so I can take how many hours of teaching assistant jobs or research assistant jobs on campus, and then still do a 20 hours job outside of campus should I decide to do so, right? So yes, that is what I am currently doing. I work on campus as a teaching assistant. I also work outside of campus, and we are lucky, those of us who got our study permits before last year, before 2022 October, those of us who got it from 2022 September downwards as early as possible, we get to work full-time in Canada now until next month when they will review it. So anyways, this video is not about work, it's not about study permit. it's about work visas. The third way of coming, a third legitimate way of coming into Canada is the visitor's visa. Now, visitor's visa is, of course, you come into Canada just to visit Canada, to enjoy Canada, and then return. This visa does not come with it opportunity to work in Canada. No. So most of you who message me to ask me about how can I migrate into Canada, I bet that you are coming into Canada, you want to migrate in, you are looking for greener pastures. I wouldn't recommend this route because most of us are coming from third world countries or developing countries, and you can't even afford to pay rent in this place. And so imagine coming into this place just to waste the little money you have, because you can't work with a work visa, you can't work with a visit visa. A related visa to this visitor's visa is I think medical tourism for me. Is it medical visa something, but it's still visit visa, right? It's still temporary visa they give you to come here for medical reasons. So they're all visit visas, so you can't work with this kind of visas. So that is that. And then let's go down to the main visa that we want to talk about in this episode: work visa. So work visas and the corresponding scams. Now, there's, especially in African countries, I come from Nigeria, it is prevalent in Nigeria to have agencies, immigration agencies or immigration companies or whatever they call them. They promise work visas to non-assuming people. They promise them that we'll get you a work visa in Canada, pay us as a whipping sum as 4,000, 5,000 Canadian dollars, which is like almost 10 million naira or 9 million naira, 6 million naira. I don't know about Ghana. How often is this kind of promises? I don't know. Ghanaians, please tell me in the comment section below how common it is for such agencies in Ghana and how much you pay for this process. Anyways, in Nigeria, I know Nigeria very well. They tell you that we can get you 2 years of work permit and 2 years of work permit in Canada. Now, there's similar kind of work permit in Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, like that. So they give you these 2 years work visas for you to go to Dubai or go to Saudi Arabia or these other Arabian or Middle Eastern countries to work for 2 years, and now when you are done, you come back, you go back to your country. So now these agencies, they promise you this kind of visa in Middle Eastern countries. They tell you that Canada also do it, that they will secure visas for you. Now what these people normally do is that when they this non-assuming clients meet them, they give them, as of then, when I think Dubai or United Arab Emirates still gives Nigerians visas, right? That kind of work visas, instead of giving you the Canadian work visa, they will do that. They will make that that Middle Eastern United Arab Emirates work visa. Now that United Arab Emirates do no longer give Nigerians, I think they no longer give. I don't know if they have rescinded that embargo or that prohibition on Nigeria. That I don't know if anything has changed, but I know as of last year, they no longer give that kind of work visas. And so now what they do is they will apply for the client. They will apply for them a visit visa into Canada, and if it is successful, they will tell you, well, if you tell them that no, this is not the kind of visa I am looking for, this is not the kind of visa I am looking for, they will tell you that well, if you go to Canada, you can change it. It's easy, just change it to that you can Please, if anyone tells you that there is a work visa in Canada, if you're not into tech or highly specialized kind of field, if they secure visa for you, they tell you that they want to make visas for you for any kind of something like laborer kind of jobs or front desk cashiers and all those kind of menial common jobs. Please run. It is a scam. Let us presuppose, like, your general assumption should be that there's no such work visas for Nigerians and many developing countries or many African countries. I know of those ones, and yeah, there's no such work visas for so I want to put it out there. There are exceptions, right? But let me put, if someone tells you work visa, ask them what kind of work visa, what kind of work visa, because it is not as common as as they would make it to be. Yeah, so let me stop. It's good I put it out there before I continue. Okay, so most people who message me who they are not those that actually can qualify for such work visas in Canada. So know that if they ask you there is work visa, ask them what kind of work visa, and ask more questions. Okay, I know that I did tell you that there is no work visa. You can't get work visa. Yes, there are exceptions. You actually can get work visas. Now, there are some, highly special. So, if to get a work visa, right, you must first of all have an employer in Canada. As someone in Nigeria or many African countries, if you want to get visa in Canada, you have to get an employer who would give you a job first. If they give you a job first, then they will apply for something called Labor Market Impactment Assessment, LMIA. What is this Labor Market Impact Assessment? This LMIA is to, these people we apply for it. The people who gave you this job, they will be the one to apply for it, and they don't charge you to apply for that. They pay for it themselves. So any agency that tell you give us money, let us give you a job in Canada, suspect them, because it is highly illegal for any company, real company in Canada to do that. It is highly illegal. Now, they are going to apply for what is called Labor Market Impact Assessment. This assessment is to, tell the Canadian government that we have searched all over Canada. There's a labor shortage in this field. We did not find someone who can do this job. That is why we are sourcing from outside of Canada, right? So can you imagine that? It's strong. So it means if those people deceive you, tells you, oh, we'll get you a job, you go and be one of these, you go and be a cleaner in Canada, you go and work in the farm in Canada, you go and be a nurse in Canada. Ask them, is it that there's no cleaner that who would do the labor market impact assessment? Who have you done labor market impact assessment? One, and secondly, is it that they cannot find a cleaner in the whole of Canada? So in the whole of Canada, there's no one who would do this cleaning job. Ask them these two questions, and I'm sure by this time they know that you are not an unassuming, that you know what you are talking about. So now, they will have to do labor market impact assessment. So there are some jobs that are so rare to find someone. There are some jobs that are so rare. For now, this is what I know. Work visas for techies, for tech bros and techies, right? So software developers, operation managers, system operation managers, or whatever they call them, software developers and software engineers. These are jobs that first and foremost do not require you to have Canadian certification. If you are a software engineer in Nigeria or in Togo, it's the same kind of skills that is required to be a software engineer in Canada. So there is no need for Canadian certification. So that is why something like medical doctor, no matter how it is that Canada is suffering from physician shortage, a profession like medical doctors or physicians is not one of those that you can do LMIA for, because you will need a Canadian certification to eventually work in Canada as a physician. So those kind of jobs might not be part of it. So something like tech software engineers, if you're a software engineer, then you might be able to get a company who would hire you to work for them as a software engineer, as a software developer. So I presently saw a Nigerian who got a job, who was given a job in in Canada in 2021 by this Canadian tech company, and her name is Chrys-O. She's on YouTube, so I will drop her link. You also listen to her, what she has to say about securing job as a software developer in Canada. I am not a software developer, so I don't know much about it, but I'm going to share experience that something I got from her YouTube. I'm making this video especially for my friend Good Luck, so this is for you, tech bro. Yes, so I'm not a software developer, but I highly recommend this YouTube channel from Chrys-O on YouTube. I'm going to leave the link to her YouTube channel where she talked about how she secured a job in Canada as someone who as a software developer. From what I learned from this lady, if you go to places that you can find this kind of software jobs in Canada, if you go to companies that can employ you from outside of Canada. So if you go to relocate.me startup, I will leave the the links in the description section below. So if you go to relocate.me, startup.jobs, 42jobs.io, remotework.tech, etc. So if you go to these links, I got this link from Chrys-O's YouTube channel. So if you go to these links, you can start applying for jobs. Now, supposing you apply and you finally get a company that would hire you and that would apply for LMIA. So what do you need to apply for this work visa? First and foremost, the most important thing is that LMIA, labor market impact assessment. And one good thing is that if you get this if you want to apply for this work visa, you can apply for work visa for your family as well, members of your family. So you need proof of work experience, you need your degrees and your academic certificate, you need of course your pay stub from your past employer, you need recommendation letter from the previous person you were working with, and you need of course your international passport. So you need your resume, you need your birth certificate, and if there's any other document you have that will prove remember this is also a temporary visa like study permit. You will need to prove that you will return to your country after your period of working in Canada. So any document that will show proof of your strong home tie to your country, so you would need those, right? And if you are applying for your spouse or your partner or your common law partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your fiance or whatever, you can also apply for them the open spousal work permit. Now, open spousal work permit is a second kind of work permit that you can apply for in Canada. Remember I began by saying there's no work permit, and then I talked about exceptions, that there is a kind of work permit that you will need LMIA. And then there's a second kind of work permit, which is open spousal work permit. This kind of work permit is for the girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance of any person in Canada who is an international student or who is on work permit in Canada. So like me, if I have a girlfriend in Canada, in Nigeria, or I have a boyfriend in Nigeria, or in Ghana or any country, I can apply for them and we can prove our relationship, right? So I can apply for them spousal open work permit. So they will come to Canada to join me while I work. They can or study. They can also work. They can also come to work. But the difference between this kind of work permit is that spousal open work permit, remember open, it means they don't need any LMIA jobs, right? They don't need to make LMIA. They don't need an employer to employ them first and do the LMIA assessment for them. They don't need that. That is why it is open spousal, open. It is open. So if they come here, they can literally work for any company that they see job that can employ them. So it can be cleaner, can be working in Walmart, it can be working in any of these any of these employers. So it's not employer specific, and they don't need labor market impact assessment, so long as their spouse is either a student or someone who already has a work permit in Canada. So that is what I have today. Before we continue, if you have enjoyed this video up to this point and you have not subscribed yet or liked, come on, what's up, what is going on? Please click that subscribe button, click that like button, okay? Anyway, so in this video I began by talking about ways to legitimately migrate into Canada. I also talk about the different kinds, how people are being scammed through the work visas, and then I also talk about exceptions to work visas. That there is, in general, there is no work visas for most people from developing from African countries, especially Nigerians. I know this one. There's no, most people who look for work, who are looking for work or different, common fields or common industry, you can't get work visas, and I did say that there are two other exceptions to this rule, like that there is work visa that you would need to apply for LMIA, and that if someone wants to scam you, promises you job in Canada, tell them, are you going to do LMIA for me? Let me see the LMIA before I pay you for this service. Secondly, anyone who asks you to give them money to give you an employment in Canada is a scam. Secondly, any job that is not hyper specialized kind of job like software development and software engineering and things related, things like that, suspect it might be a scam, right? And then thirdly, I talked about another kinds of work visa, which is Spousal Open Work Permit, that does not require LMIA, labor market impact assessment. So yeah, that is what I have in today's YouTube video, and I do hope you enjoyed it, right? If you do have suggestions of things you would like me to talk about, please leave them in the comment section below and I will consider them. So is there anything that I am missing from this episode? Well, I don't want to talk too much, and I think I've already talked too much, and that is what I have today. I don't think that nothing remains, okay? So yeah, that is that. And please make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Yeah, thank you, and have a wonderful weekend or have a wonderful day, whichever time you are seeing this video. Anyways, see you next week. Bye bye.